Welcome to the Monday Warrior podcast. So we all dread Mondays. It's the end of the weekend, the start of a new work week, and essentially the rebirth of the 5-day minimum grind cycle. We've all heard of the term weekend warrior, where we suffer for the week to live it up for the weekends. But what if we didn't have to suffer for the week just to enjoy those 2 days off? What if we could actually enjoy more than 2 of the 7 days of the week? What if we could not only take back Monday, but also Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday? The Monday Warrior podcast aims to challenge your opinions and attitude on the workweek cycle, to look at the new week with opportunity for improvement rather than inevitable dread, and to provide you with the necessary motivation to harden your mentality and to 180 your perspective on your current circumstances. Because at the end of the day, it's your life, and no matter how you frame it, you technically don't have to do anything. You get to. So this episode of the Monday Warrior podcast is about using negative energy as fuel and momentum, using your past hardships and struggles as motivation for your current challenges, and really gathering your past difficulties as your firewood, and feeling those raw negative emotions again as your kindle to essentially grow a fire and as a weapon to extinguish any obstacle or endeavor in your way, to reignite a motivation in your heart. And I think the best place to start out is that negative energy in today's day and age, and honestly through time, has always been seen as a bad thing, as something that we should have no part of. We should never do anything with it. Don't indulge in negative thoughts. Don't indulge in negative culture. Don't indulge in negative experiences. Don't think about bad times. Only focus on the good. Stay positive. But the truth is, negative energy is really only bad if you're wallowing in it. If you're pitying yourself, if you're feeling sorry for yourself, if you're just festering in your own despair, whether it was a bad experience in the past or whether it's something more recent, if you're just too focused on it, then it takes over you and it controls you. And that's when you lose sight of who you are in that moment, because your emotions essentially cloud your mind and they cloud your judgment. And that's when negative energy is a bad thing, because then you're just sad and you're miserable. But on the flip side of the coin, this kind of energy can be incredibly advantageous if you're purposing it correctly. Essentially, if you're owning your negative energy, if you're owning those negative experiences, those raw, sad, miserable experiences in the past, things that if you understand why you felt that way before, and you understand that whatever happened in the past, whatever bad experience you had is over, it's done with, and now you can take the negative emotion from it and use it and repurpose it to your advantage in the present moment. That's when this kind of energy is advantageous. And essentially, those negative moments, those sad memories, and those very distraughtful feelings, they're now your bitch. And they're on your leash and they're on your clock to do your bidding and not the other way around. You're no longer stuck in that negative atmosphere and that sad place that you were before just to be stuck there. You went back there for a reason, to collect a very specific emotion, to fuel a new motivation, to tackle any challenge in your way. So what kind of negative experiences am I talking about? So a lot of these are very general among most of us. I can guarantee the majority of us have experienced these events to some degree. Rejection from an esteemed job interview, or rejection from your dream university, failing a test, failing an important test in a class that you needed to pass, failing a standardized test, or just doing poorly on a test, breaking up with your significant other, maybe your significant other cheats on you, something like that, or just losing a friend and having relationship difficulties all around, or just coming up short on any endeavor in your end. And essentially, all these things are losing any kind of endeavor. And these specific moments, these negative and raw emotional moments, can all be used and gathered as your firewood, as your kindle, as something flammable. And these emotions can be repurposed to your advantage by channeling how you felt in that moment when you failed that interview, when you found out your significant other cheated on you, or when you failed a test, and use that and get angry and get motivated. And it's okay to feel that way, because you're repurposing energy. That doesn't make you a negative person. That makes you a smart person. That makes you a person in control of your emotions. That makes you a person who's emotionally sound and emotionally aware. Not a sad person, not a confused person. If you know exactly why you are repurposing your energy the way you are, then that makes you emotionally keen and aware. And you can use this kind of tactic for anything. If you're on a fitness journey, you can use it to fuel a workout and to essentially, stick to a diet plan. Because we all know how hard these plans can get after the first few weeks are done. When the initial fire and the initial motivation you had to start is extinguished. And now you're running on something deeper, on a deeper drive and want. And sometimes that want and drive gets cloudy when the tough gets going. If you've been eating the same thing every single day and you're incredibly bored of it, and maybe one day you want a pizza, you want a cheeseburger, you want a donut, and you want to cheat on your diet, think about when you feel that way, think about those negative emotions you had in the past and those events where you came up short. When you feel like quitting on yourself, think about those moments when someone quit on you, or when life quit on you, or when you quit on yourself in the past, and feel how badly you felt after the fact, or even during the fact. Because it feels good to play video games and not study for a crucial exam, even though you know it's important. It feels good to do some easy shit in the present moment. But after that test is said and done, and you get your score back and you see that you failed, or your score it's not satisfactory and it's not up to par with your standard, you feel disappointment, you feel shame, and you get that raw anger feeling, that sad feeling. It kind of feels like you want to throw up, all you see is red, and you hear that faint buzzing in your ear. I know you know what I'm talking about. When you find out some bad news, when someone says something to you that you don't like, it's like, that's that negative emotion, that raw emotion, that anger, that sorrow, disappointment in yourself, disappointment in the situation. And it makes you feel a certain kind of way. It makes you feel angry, and it makes you feel driven, and suddenly makes you feel like you want to get better. Well, you need to get better. You feel like you need to get better. And that's the exact kind of feeling that you need to take back from your past and bring to the present moment if your motivation is waning. You need to remember what it's like to lose, what it's like to feel like a loser, to come up short. And that's what's going to reignite that motivation that you need to stick to your diet, to study for that exam, to work harder on your relationships, whatever the case may be. Negative energy isn't a bad thing. It's important to understand that. It all depends on how you purpose it. Because on the flip side, positive energy isn't always a good thing either. Say you're at a place in your life where you're very happy and you're very content and you're basically where you wanted to be. You've achieved your short-term or long-term goal. What happens now? You get complacent. And you get lackadaisical, you get lazy, because you're not nearly as driven, as tenacious as you were when you were climbing the hill to reach your goal. And that's a positive energy. You feel good about yourself. You feel like you have a lot more room for error now that you're at the top of the hill, versus when you're at the bottom and trying to climb up. Because that's when positive energy isn't always a good thing either, because it makes you slow and it dulls your instinct. So emotions really are subjective. And it all depends on how you purpose it and how you interpret it yourself. So the quote of this week's episode is a quote by Maya Angelou. It's one of my favorite quotes, and it's that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And this is honestly one of my favorite quotes because it's a quote of so much emotion. And it tells a story of how strong an influence our emotions have on everything in our lives, our relationships, our past memories, even our scope of life and understanding of it, and our legacy hereafter. Because emotional energy, both positive and negative, are equally powerful. Whether it's in different directions or really just how you purpose it. And if you know how to channel both good and more specifically bad energy into motivation, into fuel as kinder, then it's your most powerful tool in your arsenal, man. But only if it's purposed correctly. If you revisit hurtful experiences where you felt like your soul was reaped and you felt badly because someone did you dirty, you did yourself dirty, or hey, I guess you can always say that life just did you dirty, and you get stuck in those emotions and you wallow in it, that's when it becomes a problem. That's when negative energy is bad. When you get stuck and you're not moving forward. So instead of pitying yourself, feeling sorry for yourself, help yourself. Help yourself do something. Do something when you go back into that dark place to find the fire that you need for your current situation, to find that motivation that might not be here anymore because things are easier. The easier road is always easier to take in the present situation when we don't have to worry about immediate consequences. Everything is always easier in the present moment when you're feeling good. And sometimes feeling good isn't always synonymous with being motivated. More often than not, it's synonymous with feeling lazier. Because you're comfortable. Negative energy is not bad. Adversity is not bad. Struggle is not bad. Failure is not a bad thing. It's all about how you manipulate your emotions, your past experiences, and your guilt to essentially craft the weapon, the sword, that you need in the present moment right now to face your current endeavors when you no longer feel motivated. That's how you reignite the fire. Get angry, it's okay. Feel sad, it's okay. But purpose that emotion. Purpose it into drive. Remember what it was like to come up short. Remember what it was like to fail. To ensure that you'll never fail again. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Monday Warrior. Thank you for your time and support, and be sure to keep an eye out for next week's episode that will be available for listening on Sunday night. The clock is ticking. Start and continue chasing the life that you want to live this week, the week after, and so forth. Stay driven, never settle, and never give up. Never forget that the shackles of restriction and limitation start and end in our minds. We are free the moment we and we alone tell ourselves so. Now go out there and tear this week to shreds.